This is Dr. Tiffany Lamonde from Apex Wellness Providers, and today I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on how our first 30-day challenge is going. We're about a third of the way through that. And then I also wanted to give you 13 tips to help you be more successful with this challenge specifically. So the first tip that I want to give you is you can't really measure something that you're not tracking. So for this year, I'm still an analog girl. I'm working on becoming a more digital type lady, but my new planner this year has a habit tracker. And so what it does is it allows you to track over the course of the 31 days. And then this particular one, it gives you 8 different options of different habits that you could track. And so for me, I have chosen to start out with a few different habits: the half your body weight in ounces of water, taking my vitamins consistently, exercising 5 times a week, and big one for me is trying to get 8 hours of sleep. You'll notice that some of these repeat themselves over the next few months. But in order for you to be successful, you kind of have to have a way to keep track of what you're doing. And so there's ways to download sheets that you could mark off. You can use a Fitbit, you could use an Apple Watch, you can use a planner, you can use your calendars in Outlook or wherever your place of choice is. But some level of tracking and accountability would be a great place to start. Habit number 2, use a reusable water bottle. In my opinion, if you can get a water bottle that will give you either like an accurate measurement of how many times you should fill it, so 2 or 3 or 4 times throughout the course of the day. This particular one, so my goal is to get 64 ounces of water per day, and this bottle, if I fill it twice and finish it, it will get me to my goal. Habit number 3, if you have something like this, try and do half of what you're trying to accomplish before lunch and then half after lunch, but preferably before it's too late in the evening. If you're guzzling 32 ounces of water at 9 o'clock at night, you're probably going to be up and going to the bathroom quite a lot. Habit number 4, that's where the pink comes in. So using herbal teas to help increase and improve the flavor, and potentially, depending on what you use, even some medicinal benefits. Try to use things that are not caffeinated, not artificial sweeteners, and no added sugar. So in this is a tea that I really like, and I can link in the description box below an example of this water bottle as well as the tea that I'm using. It's by a company called Tazo, and it's called Passion Tea. 1, I really like the flavor. 2, the color is really bright and fun and vibrant, and it's made primarily out of hibiscus. So there's no caffeine, there's no sugar added or anything like that. So that's a really helpful option. So habit number 5 is to do something like adding fruit, even vegetables or herbs to the water. So you could do lemon slices, lime slices, cucumber slices. You could use things like different types of herbs such as rosemary, or mint is a really good one, like if you happen to have fresh mint. If it's dried, you may want to consider putting it in a tea ball so you don't have little chunks floating around. That doesn't bother everybody, but that bothers some people. Habit number 6. So you can tie this into a routine that you already follow. So for example, maybe every morning you automatically get up and drink a big glass of water because you're really thirsty. Maybe you tie it to meals where every meal you make sure that you can consume maybe 10 ounces of water with that meal. Maybe you tie it to an exercise routine where you try and get through a certain amount of water by the end of your exercise routine. So in order for habits to really stick, if you will, to make them sticky, it's best if they sort of fit into the life that you already have. So if you can put it into an existing routine, then you are more likely to stick with the challenge. Again, another one is to look at the color of your urine. Now, this isn't so much to help you increase your water consumption, but to kind of give you an idea if you are consuming enough, or maybe look at some of your physical symptoms if you are either dehydrated and or you're actually drinking too much water. And yes, that is possible. You can even drink so much water that it can kill you. That is absolutely possible. So I am not looking for anyone in this challenge to do anything foolish. And I had mentioned in my first video, if your body weight is significantly above what you would consider to be your ideal body weight, you might want to use your ideal body weight as the measurement that you're going for, at least initially. And so, for example, if you're looking at your urine in the toilet and it is bright or dark yellow, that could be some of the vitamins you're taking. So, B vitamins make your urine more of like a yellowy, almost a green color. It can also change the odor of your urine. But barring any of that, If your urine is dark or is brown or has like a very sort of, at the lack of a better description, a condensed odor, then you might not be getting enough water. If your urine is very light yellow, then you're probably doing really well. If your urine is very white or clear, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but unless you're drinking so much water that you're actually flushing your electrolytes, and that can actually be really dangerous. And so you want to make sure that if you are drinking a lot of water, you might want to replace your electrolytes, or you might want to make sure that you're not overhydrating where you'll actually feel poorly or kind of ill. So as always, use common sense. Another tip for you is to set a reminder. Now, for some people, if they like to use Apple Watches, they have an activity monitor that tells you to get up every hour. You could use that exact same thing in order to remind you to drink water. So you could also set a reminder on your computer that it will ding and tell you to, maybe get up, stretch, and move around. This is something I recommend to my patients, and you can associate that with drinking water. Again, kind of going back to a prior tip, if you can bring it into the lifestyle that you already have, you're more likely to stick with it. Another tip that you might find helpful is you might consider getting a water filter. Now, I have patients that have told me they don't want to drink their tap water, or they don't think that their water is safe, and so they've been drinking all of their water out of single-use plastic water bottles. And we could get into a whole nother conversation about how you probably don't want to drink out of single-use plastic, both environmentally and health-wise. So if that's your concern, consider getting a water filter. And they can vary wildly from what you attach to your refrigerator to something that you could put at your sink. You could get an external filter like a Brita filter, or you could get something even more involved like a Berkey. These are all options, and I can link some things down below that you might find helpful for you. But you can consider getting a filter in order to increase your confidence, perhaps, in what you're drinking. Now, there are pluses and minuses to doing that. It can change the flavor, it can change the mineral content. That can be both good and bad. It will sometimes remove the fluoride out of your water. That can be both good and bad depending on the situation and how you feel about fluoridated water. But the filter might actually make the water taste better to you and make you drink more of it. Another quick tip is you could consider, so a glass or a cup of water is 8 ounces. You might consider while you're at work, every hour that you're at work, for the hour you drink 1 cup of water. And that would probably get you through your water requirements, or most of them, while you're at work. Another thing for you to consider is what types of foods are you eating. Now, they wouldn't necessarily be obviously counted toward your water consumption, but certain types of food have very high water content to begin with. So fruits and vegetables can have a great deal of water in them. If you're consuming them, that's increasing your water consumption. And different types of meals like soups and smoothies have higher water content than other types of foods that are more dense, like say cheese, for example, has a very, very, very low, if not absent, water content. So if you're eating a lot of water-based fruits and vegetables, that might help you increase your water consumption as well. So in closing, as always, don't let this be a substitute for appropriate medical advice. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. And the purpose of this whole project is to give you some lifestyle tips and tricks that you can maybe try on for size, see if they serve you, see if they fit well for you and your lifestyle. And if they do, perhaps you can start to adopt them into what is already your daily routine. If they don't serve you and you don't find them to be helpful, discard them, get rid of them. Nothing about this whole 30-day challenge over 2023 is required, but we encourage you to join us. So if you would, please put down in the comments below, how is it going for you? Do you have any other tips and tricks that would be really helpful for the people that are participating in this? And then if you would so kindly consider liking and subscribing to this channel, that would be really great. Thanks so much.